One of the more influential books that I've read outside the Scripture, of course, is a book by Henry Blackaby entitled Experiencing God. Now, I'm guessing a number of you are familiar with that. If you're not, boy, I really encourage you to get out and read and find that book, Experiencing God. Or there's a notebook, a workbook that takes you through that. Boy, I would encourage you to get that and work through it. It is one of the most helpful. It is probably the best study I think that I've probably undertaken than any that I can recall. It really shaped my approach to ministry, my approach to life in general. And the reason I share that with you, and the reason I'm saying that this morning, is because it so ties in to John chapter 5 that we're reading through today. So, again, I'm Mark Miller, pastor at Oak Ridge Baptist Church. We are taking a journey to the cross and to an empty tomb. As we're reading through the Gospel of John, one chapter a day between now and Easter. It's not too late to join us, right? Because we're in the 5th chapter. Jump in and read it, and you have plenty of time to do so. We find ourselves at the 5th chapter of John today. And Jesus, well, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the 5th chapter. I just want to highlight these things for you as an approach to life and work and ministry in general, okay? Jesus is saying these words. He looks at some folks who are really trying to persecute him, and he says this. He says, "My Father is always at his work, and to this very day I too am working." So Jesus says, look, my Father's always at work. And so I'm looking around to see what God is doing. He's always at work. He's always in the midst of that. Sometimes we're in the middle of we're in this middle of this situation right now, right? This COVID-19 virus. You're thinking, man, is there any redeeming value in this? What's God going to be doing? You know what? It's a great opportunity to look around and say, man, I wonder what God's doing, because he's always at work, Jesus said, and I too am working. And then Jesus said this, I'm telling you the truth, the Son can do nothing by himself. He only does what he sees his Father doing. So he says that I'm not just doing things that I think are really good to do. I look and I see what the Father is doing. And the reason he does that, he says, because the Father loves the Son and shows him everything he does. And so Jesus says, I'm not just going around looking for good things to do. I'm just looking for the Father. And the Father, through that time spent with him in prayer, the time in his word, through wherever God reveals and shows him, God reveals to him what he's about and what he's doing, because he loves him. So we don't necessarily discover truth or discover the will of God. It's that God chooses to reveal his will to us. And then Jesus says, so the Father loves me. He reveals that to me. And those things that I see my Father doing, then that's what I do. And I do this to honor the Father, right? Honor the Father who sent me. And so Jesus has this great approach to life in this. He says, look, God's always at work around me. I look, I try to discern what God is doing. I spend time. I'm not really searching what God is doing as so much as I'm just searching God the Father himself. And in my time with him, then God reveals, the Father reveals his will and what he's doing to me. And then when he reveals that to me, then I join him in his work. And boy, when we do that, man, we know we're going to have great success, because we're not just trying to do good things for God. We're just joining God in what he is already doing. And we participate in that, in life, by walking with the Father. These things have been a real encouragement to me over the years. I want to encourage you in that as well. I want you to read through the John, the 5th chapter, and listen to Jesus as he talks about the great life, the life that is in the Son. And let's just learn from the Lord in this journey together with him, okay? Something somebody said one time, I don't remember who, but I always thought was real helpful. It said something like this, said, if you seek the hand of God, you may miss the face of God. But if you seek his face, then you'll never miss his hand. So let's not busy ourselves necessarily looking for the work of God. Man, let's just look for the face of God. And in doing so, he will reveal to us his work and his will, and we can join him in that. Have a great time through the Scriptures in the 5th chapter. I hope you're learning and growing along with me in this journey to the cross and to the empty tomb.